There we go. So, Shabbat Shalom. Tonight is our Social Justice Shabbat for March 11th, 2022, corresponding to the 9th of Adar 2, 5782. And it is called Shabbat Zachor, the Sabbath of Remembering, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Our guest speakers this evening are Yvonne Soto and Dennis Curry from DDSO, Developmental Disability Service Organization. And a quote to get us thinking along the mindset of tonight's theme: to become a truly inclusive community, we need to make room for conversation about our personal responses to people with disabilities and how each of us can overcome anxiety or concern and move into friendship and understanding. So with that teaching, Shabbat Shalom. Hinei matovu manayim shaverachim gam yachad. 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 So we bring in the lights of Shabbat Zachor, and I welcome all of you who have your Shabbat candles on your table to join Susan Solars in blessing our Sabbath. So Susan, thank you so much. And if you're able to stand, please do so to bring in Shabbat.
Wow.
She's on mute. Rick, can you hear her?
Unmute yourself, Susan.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Susan. And thank you all of you who are bringing in lights at your home. So, my friends, this Shabbat, our Torah, you can get rid of that, Rick, that's okay. Our Torah commands the reading about
You didn't say it either.
evil character named Amalek. Not only to read about Amalek, but to remember Amalek. The purpose is to remind us that this evil character, Amalek, horrible, attacked us when we were leaving Egypt, hitting our weak and elderly, our babies who were in the back of the line in the desert. We are ordered, commanded to never forget the attack and to erase the memory of Amalek. Shabbat Zachor is always connected to Purim because our tradition holds that Haman is a descendant of Amalek. Remember what Amalek did to you on your way out of Egypt, it says in Deuteronomy 25. So because of that reading, we call it Shabbat Zachor. And the Haftorah also deals with Amalek. So there is a mitzvah in the Torah to remember Amalek and his descendants and orally recall their iniquity. Where it's supposed to, not yet, we're not yet there. We're getting there, not yet. That's okay. We're to tell our children in each generation what the people of Amalek did to us as we departed. And the mitzvah will be fulfilled completely when we have caused Amalek's memory to be erased, together with the slightest remnant of anything that bears the name. The sages have expounded, remember orally, and you will not forget in your heart. So this is all very relevant to us, this remembering the Amalek who's related to the Hitler, who's related to the Haman, who's related to Putin, today's Amalek, and the carnage that he is thrusting upon the innocent citizens of Ukraine, the adults, the seniors, the children, the babies. When an Amalek surfaces in the guise of a Putin, we recognize how essential it is for us to stand for justice. The key thing is that Amalek did not fear God and attacked the famished and the weak. You might ask, why was it that the Israelites marched in such a way that they left the weaker people in the back? It's a lesson we will bring up this evening. Well, we know that building inclusive communities means that we take care of everyone, to shelter everyone. That's a Jewish value, and it's one that we want to fulfill. The Torah implores us to remember the less fortunate among us when we're settled in the land and the times are good. When times are good, we must never forget those who are weak, hungry, and at risk. Thus, we embrace the Purim mitzvah called Matanot le'Evyanim, giving gifts to the poor. In our good times, we must remember others. Tonight, we're going to hear from two wonderful people, Dennis Curry and Yvonne, on the issue that all people, those who are labeled as less fortunate, have value, have a voice to be heard, and that they can contribute to society. We will not have the Amalek nightmare erase the value of individuals who live life with challenges that most of us cannot imagine. The mission of DDSO is committed to enrich the quality of life for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities by fostering individual growth, creativity, and community involvement through innovative strategies and artistic expression. Tonight, we're going to learn how there's a wonderful training that gives these individuals experience in filmmaking, television, and radio. So tonight is about remembering that whether it was long ago, those who were weaker, and how Amalek attacked them, and how in our generation, those who are challenged by disabilities and developmental hardship, that we remember them and that we take care of them and that we include them. That is the spirit of tonight's Shabbat. Thank you. Because it is a mitzvah to read these words from Deuteronomy 25, we will do it. Here it goes. Heidi, after I chant a line, will you please read the English? Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek baderech b'tzetechem mimitzrayim.
We will remember what Amalek did to you on your journey after you left Egypt.
Asher korcha baderech vayizaneh becha kol hanechlashim acharecha ve'ata ayef ve'yagea ve'lo yareh Elohim.
How, undeterred by fear of God, he surprised you on the march when you were famished and weary and cut down all the stragglers in your rear.
והיה והניח אדוני אלוהיך לך מכל אויביך מסביב בארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך נחלה לרשתה, תמחה את זכר עמלק מתחת השמיים לא תשכח.
Therefore, when your God Adonai grants you safety from all your enemies around you in the land that your God Adonai is giving you as a hereditary portion, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget.
Thank you. Thank you very much. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם ניסוחה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We stand to welcome the Sabbath bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please be seated. Joel Shapiro, would you please read the first reading from Pirkei Avot?
Then Azai taught, do not disdain any person. Do not underrate the importance of anything, for there is no person who does not have his hour, and there is no thing without its place in the sun.
Thank you. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד יברח ירתה וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיא, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי לקדושה בריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בימה, ויאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Please be seated. Hank, would you please read reading 2?
Speak up for those who cannot speak. Speak up, judge righteously, champion the poor and the needy.
Thank you. Change happens. Spring is springing. Allergies are blossoming. And we feel it in the air. And we thank God for the ability to be present to the change of seasons, to enjoy the feel of how winter turns to spring, to summer, and to fall. So we think about some of the beautiful things we saw today. The blue sky. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates and thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the time and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Arabim.
Amen.
Rabbi Pastrell, are you on this call?
I am.
Could you please read reading 3?
Yes. Do not look at the container, but what is in it, from Pirkei Avot. The Mishnah tells us, don't look at the flask, but at what it contains. In teaching ourselves to see the inner sparks that light a person's soul, rather than merely glancing at the casing that holds those special assets of personality, aspiration, and caring, we can act like God in the wilderness, healing when we can, and transcending limits when we cannot.
Thank you. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta נהגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. I invite you to stand if you wish, or sit if you wish, but cover your eyes and allow yourself to breathe into Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Kavod Adonai. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Aaron, are you there? Aaron Tenner, are you there?
Hi.
Okay, from Leviticus 14:19.
You shall not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind. You shall fear your God. I am Adonai.
Thank you. And all of us looking at those, we could all trip, right? So how we're supposed to look out for each other. Thank you. So what is the water that you're crossing tonight? What is the body of water that you need to cross to get to the other side where there's more safety and peace? And how are you going to do it? That's the question we ask with Michamocha, the prayer of courage, reminding ourselves that Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like God. Yalai, lai, lai, la, la, lai, yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, lai, la, la, lai, yalai, lai, 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 la, 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 lai, yalai, lai, 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 la, 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 lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. כי פדה את אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Sherry, if you're on this call, would you read this passage from Deuteronomy?
Sure. Deuteronomy 15:7. If there is among you one of your brethren with needs within any of your gates, in your land which Adonai your God has given you, you shall not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from your needy brother.
Thank you. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת וינפש שבת, שבת וינפש, שבת שבת וינפש. Please join me as we enter Tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu b'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ביוון. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
Amen.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה לחיים בחסד, בחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו. לישני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידה מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום ילוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated. if you weren't already. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam yahava tikabel u'tahil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha Baruch atah Adonai She'otecha levadecha ba'yira na'avod na'avod na'avod. Roy, are you on this call?
Yeah, yeah,
So
I'm
this is
here.
a teaching about having much patience. Okay? Go for it.
Rabbi Parida had a certain student whom he would have to teach 400 times, and only then would he learn the material, as he was incapable of understanding it otherwise. One day they requested Rabbi Parida's presence for a mitzvah matter after the lesson. Rabbi Parida taught his student 400 times as usual, but this time the student did not successfully learn the material. Rabbi Parida said to him, "What is different now that you are unable to grasp the lesson?" And he said to him, "From the time that they said to the master that there is a mitzvah matter for which he is needed, my mind was distracted from the lesson, and every moment I said, now the master will get up, now the master will get to go and perform the mitzvah, and he will not complete the lesson." And Rabbi Parida said to him, "Pay attention this time, and I will teach you, and know that I will not leave until you have fully mastered the lesson." And he taught him again on an additional 400 times.
That's a good teaching. That's a very good teaching. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. And from that place of much peace, from Shalom Rav, we lift up the names of those in need of healing. So I would be happy to say the names if you would like to put them in the chat, or you can say them yourselves after I finish with this list. Know that you are so welcome to send your names of loved ones into the office. Linda Roman, Janice Schulman, Matt Drake, Sherry Jones, Maggie Verano, Penny Clark, Janice Schulman. Victoria Albrecht, Bev Colomino, Bill McDonald, Maria Raptis, Stanley Carter, Sheila Kay, Shalia Kay, Lauren Heimer, Deb Heyman, we pray for all those who are in need of healing of their body, of their spirit, of their mind, suffering from mental illness, physical illness, emotional illness, spiritual illness. We ask God to help us exactly where we are and bring us to a place of refuah, of healing. The family of Robin Ash. Amen. That would be all of us. Misha Beirach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Beirach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. So we are familiar with Maimonides, who came up with the ladder of tzedakah. And every time I look at this ladder, whether it's this one with bright colors or it's just printed on a page, kind of take note, where am I at? Where was I before? What's my next level? How can I be more conscious in my giving? Tzedakah is righteous giving, from the word tzedek, meaning righteous. So the giving unwillingly after being asked, Maimonides said, was the lower level. But folks, it's still giving, right? The second level, giving a small amount cheerfully after being asked. The next one, giving a sufficient amount after being asked. Next, giving directly to the needy without being asked. Next is giving anonymously without knowing the receiver. The next one is giving anonymously to someone you know is needy. Next, giver and receiver are anonymous. And the top level, Maimonides said, was helping a person become self-sufficient. Hank was the one who said, you know, when you're putting the readings together, I'm thinking about Maimonides' ladder of tzedakah. So Hank, would you just read where it says the highest level of giving, please?
Highest level of giving. To anticipate charity by preventing poverty. Assist the reduced individual either by a considerable gift of a sum of money or by teaching the person a trade or by putting the person in the path of business so that he or she may earn an honest livelihood and not be forced to the dreadful alternative of holding out a hand for charity. This is the highest step and summit of charity's golden ladder.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Susan, remind us who has the honor of introducing our guest speaker this evening.
That's
It is
me.
our friend Hank Landau.
Oh, perfect. Well, that was a perfect lead-in, Hank.
Thank you. First of all, Yvonne and Dennis, I'm so happy you're here with us tonight. I just wanted to kick off and start with that before I do the intro. Good to have you here. Tonight, you're going to hear from Yvonne Soto, who's the president and CEO of the Developmental Disabilities Service Organization. Yvonne was born and raised in Los Angeles. She began her connection with DDSO when she came to Stockton to complete a 6-month music therapy internship. That was at the Allen Short Center in Stockton. After a brief stint as deputy director for DDSO, Yvonne assumed the role of CEO in 2007. You'll also hear tonight from Dennis Curry. He's the program director, a role he's had over 12 years. It's Employment Plus. Now, he's worked in this field since 1976, thinking outside the box by offering non-traditional employment training. I've really gotten to know Dennis quite a bit, and in 2015, he created and produced their first web series called Getting Down. This was a series about 3 people who just happened to have Down syndrome, and it followed their episode of their lives, their challenges, their dreams coming to life, all in an effort to show that we are all more alike than we think. And it received all kinds of awards across the country. I could go on, but I don't want to take time away from the important message they have, which is certainly about inclusion. It's about fighting cruelty, isolation, and neglect by providing a safe and stimulating environment that builds confidence, skills, and social connection. Without further ado, I hand it over to Yvonne and Dennis.
Thank you, Hank. Let me just say it's an honor to have been invited to speak with you today and be a part of your Shabbat ceremony. As you know, COVID has created quite a lot of isolation for everyone, whether you have a disability or not. And in the case of people who do have a disability, they have often felt isolated anyway. But being semi-forced to be at home and not be around their regular social circle at their different programs and being involved with activities, also had an effect on their behaviors and their ability to cope. So it's an additional challenge. And one of the things that we've done once we were told everyone had to stay home is we began doing virtual training. So for those who are able to use a computer or had assistants at home to use a computer, we've been doing lots of virtual trainings, labs, and studios. just to keep people connected. And for those who were not able to do that, we tried to maintain regular contact by phone because we couldn't go to them either, rather they're coming to the program. But I think the field and people with disabilities have come a long way from the days, I don't know if you remember the Willowbrook State Hospital scandal back in the 70s. Geraldo Rivera did a documentary where people were just, they just weren't treated as people. DDSO, while the words are Developmental Disability Service Organization, what we're really about is dignity, diversity, self-worth, and opportunity. That's what we want to provide for people who are involved with our services. And the arts came about because our founder, Mary Short, who was the wife of State Senator Alan Short, was on the board of a state hospital, the Stockton State Hospital, and she saw that people were just sitting around doing nothing, rocking or sleeping. And she had the idea of getting some artists to come in to volunteer to do some activities. And she saw how people really responded. Nonverbal people, people would get up and start moving if there was music. They did some dancing activities, drawing activities, singing activities. And so there was nothing like that in the community. So that's how the Alan Short Center was founded. It was the first program of DDSO back in 1975. And now we have 5 different programs. So the biggest difference now, before, people who were disabled were never asked what they wanted to do or what they liked to do. They were told, you're going to do this, you're going to go here, you're going to eat this. It was very, people didn't feel valued. And our approach has been for quite some time person-centered. What do you want to do? What do you like to do? What would you like to try? And for a long time, people, when asked what they wanted to do, it was just a shoulder shrug. I don't know. They weren't used to thinking about, they were just used to following. And I think that growth is huge for a lot of people who've been in our programs, and to have been around people who have been in our programs for a while, to have seen them just meekly sitting there to all of a sudden going, I want to go here, I want to see this, or I want to try that. And they may not verbalize it. Some do, some are very, very verbal. But they let you know with their behavior and how they respond to certain things. So the cues of appreciating and acknowledging what somebody wants to do, they're all there if we look and listen. It doesn't have to be a word. So the best thing that I think we offer people is choice. And of course, as I said, the pandemic kind of put a big block into that. And we're hoping to reopen gradually soon. But I think one of the things that people notice when they've come to the programs is the hidden talents and abilities that people have. That IQ has nothing to do with creativity or responding to things. It's just, they may not pass a written test, but we have people that do these amazing paintings, or their use of color. We have this one woman who makes these sculptures out of paper that are phenomenal. And we also run the bookstore at the state capitol, and we sell a lot of the art products that the people in our programs have created. And the swans, what this woman creates, sell out all the time because they're very intricate and involved. So the abilities that people have, we try to foster that. We try to give them the opportunity to share that, to strengthen that, and to appreciate that. I mean, who doesn't want people coming up to them saying how much they love what they did or what they saw you do? So I think and one of the things that first struck me when I first started working with this population was we would have graduate students come from the art department or the music department at UOP in Stockton. And people would without exception, make comments about, that's an incredible use of color. Look at that, the use of shapes, how they've done this, and that they were going to graduate school to learn how to have the freedom to do what the people in our program were innately doing. So, I mean, just kind of the yin yang of that is, I'm studying to do this, but this person just does it. And appreciating that and being amazed by that, because it sometimes takes a lot of work to be creative, but because people were, they didn't necessarily go to school to learn how to do things. And there it was, because they wanted to do it, and they sell their work, they get paid. If they sell something in an exhibit, they receive the proceeds of the sale minus the cost of some of the materials. Several years ago, we partnered with a program in Israel. It was another school that had services for people with disabilities. And we did a photography exhibit. We collaborated, and we had the show. They did the show in Israel. We did it in Stockton at University of Pacific. And then we also showed the work in New York. And it was just, when we present what the people in our programs do, it's not, oh, look what this handicapped person has done. It's, here, look at this painting. Look at this photograph. Look at this video. Whatever it is, it's just on its own. So no labels, no judgment. Just, here, we're sharing this with you. What do you think? And I think having the opportunity to be able to do that was something that didn't used to be a common thing. So I'm really proud of the fact that that's how we've always done things, and that we've always tried to focus on individuals as opposed to, you're in this group and you all have to do this or you all have to do that. And it's really evolved in terms of acceptance and what people can do and what we're hearing that people want to do. And when Dennis came back to work for DDSO and was doing some video, that was very, mind-blowing to be able to see what was created. And Hank mentioned the documentary that they did called Getting Down. Very, very powerful, because it was from the heart. So that's what we do. We try to provide opportunities. We try to make sure people feel valued, and try to give them different opportunities, that you don't all have to be in a group of people who are disabled. You're part of the community. Let's see what's out there and try it. And dignity is huge. We don't want to disrespect the people that are in our programs. We all have things we're all not perfect, and we all have things that may not be the same as someone else, but that doesn't lessen your value. So I'm really proud of what DDSO has evolved into, and we're hoping to continue being back in person again, so that people can interact, because a lot of times the main social circle of the people in our programs are the people in the programs. So being stuck at home was a very difficult thing. So we're looking forward to being back in person. So that's what DDSO does, and hopefully will continue to do.
I'm gonna get them. I got some quick stories. How about that, Hank?
Please go ahead, Dennis.
A couple quick plugs first. We are actually in production next Thursday and Friday for the first film written by a participant in our program, graduating out of our advanced screenwriting workshops that were held on Zoom. We're actually producing more projects these last 2 years on Zoom than we probably did the last 3 years in person. And we thought we were busy before, because the spirit of the people I work with and the people that I work for decided we're not just going to sit on our rear ends here. We got stuff to do. So we've doubled and tripled our productivity. Anyway, she wrote it, she's directing it, she's producing it with us. She's going to help me edit it. We've got local community actors in it. Some of the people in our program are helping on crew. We shoot next Thursday and Friday. We're going to shoot the bulk of the entire film on those 2 days because one of our lead actors is going to New York for the month of April. So if we don't shoot him out on Thursday, Friday, we have to wait. We're not waiting. We also have a television series that I wanted to speak of very quickly. Called,
Dennis,
Yeah.
what's the name of the movie that they're making?
What About Elaine?
Here.
It's a very serious drama about a young woman that has a miscarriage and dealing with the pain of that. It's on Facebook. We're developing our own web page. What About Elaine? You can see it on Facebook. We're still raising money. We need help. The review window. One of the Crystal, who also is the woman I just spoke of that wrote and is directing What About Elaine, also came up with an idea for a review show. It's a television show that is also on Facebook. Her and another friend of hers, weekly episodes in reviewing movies and radio and all that. And now they're branching into another sub of that called Support Your Local Business. So we are out there actively looking for businesses that would like us to come out and do about a 10 to 15 minute episode on them. Local businesses, we're not looking for corporations. They get enough publicity and commercial time. You know, what do you do in the community and who are you? And we're going to promote you. The very first one we did happened to be our own, the Capitol Bookstore. So we're looking for folks. Hank's got all my info. Then I want to just tell you 2 quick stories because this sums up everything. I was going to show you a video, but stories to me tell it all. The first is I've got a young man who's on the spectrum by the name of Russell. He came to me the fact that he wants to do sound, and his connection to sound is every Sunday at his church. He's the sound engineer. He sets up the mics and he runs the mixer and all that. He's in my post-production class I teach every Friday. And the last few weeks we've been working on turning him into a post-sound designer. I took a key scene out of the movie Jurassic Park. We stripped out all the sound. He and I are building in the new sounds. And then our voiceover acting workshop provided the voices. And today he and I got together and started putting the voices in. Incredible human being. He is like so many of the people that we work with. He is not a student. He is not even really a participant in the program. We are collaborators. When it comes to our film work, I have people that I collaborate with. Some of them I happen to pay. They're my staff, and some of them happen to be people that are in the program. But we collaborate, and I am really proud of the young man he's become. The second is I had the opportunity just today to meet a new person who's going to join us April 1st by the name of Jackie. And I always ask, what do you like? What do you want to do? Well, I play music. I play the violin. I play guitar. What do you want to do? I like to make movies. What? Yeah, I like to make movies. I write. I'm a creative writer. And I said, Jackie, I want you on my team. I told her what we do. We have our own green screen. We have our own 3-camera studio. When we get back to it, we have our own recording booth. And let's start making movies. She said, when can I start? Well, you got to go through the paperwork, so you got to wait till the 1st of April, but she's ready to go now. We're about, as Yvonne said, what do you want? And I think that's what's made us the biggest success during these 2 years of COVID, is that total switch over to 100% saying every person that joins us, here are the workshops we do today, which, by the way, are doubled what we were doing in person. As far as the choices they have. And if there's something there you don't see that you want to experience or you want to learn, let us know and we'll start teaching it. We'll start training on that. And it has exploded. And we're going to maintain that when we go back in person. We thought we were doing good. And we were. But COVID has made us better. The time away has made us better. We are now going to transfer that when we get back. We used to have like 12-week semester. And we said, here's what we're teaching. We took input, but here's what we're teaching. You signed up for classes and for 12 weeks. You went to this room and that room and you took all your workshops. We're going to take the model that's been created in COVID and we're going to have it in person. What do you want to do today? Well, down over here, they're going to do this, they're doing that, they're doing this. And someone says, well, why don't we do this? We'll start that tomorrow. Thank you. I'll get somebody to lead it. It's made a huge difference. The final thing I'll say is I was just asked recently, and I don't remember who said it. They joined one of my Zoom workshops and they said, I was blown away. Well, why is that? Because you were talking to the people in the group like anybody else. I said, because they are. We're collaborators. We work together. When I was first hired on as a substitute teacher for for the original Short Center way back 1,000 years ago. I substitute taught poetry and acting. Well, I've been acting since the 70s, so that was no biggie, but poetry I had to really go through. But I was telling my friends that I was teaching acting and the people I was working with. And they said, well, how do you teach people like that? How do you do it? Well, at the time I was also teaching in the community acting. I said, same exact way, same lesson plan, the same curriculum I do when I teach in the community. Really? So yeah, sometimes slower and a lot of times faster. It's respect. I don't have, again, I really don't believe, the differential is I pay some of the group and the other group I don't pay. We're paid to meet with them, but we're collaborators. And today sealed the deal with me and Russell. And Crystal, I wish you could be there on our calls daily when we're putting together the shot list and the schedule and putting us all together. One of us will say, hey, what do we shoot it this way? And oh, let's do it that way and add to this. I'm tired. I've got a bad shoulder, but I'm looking forward to holding the camera for 12 hours next Thursday and Friday, and I'll deal with the pain afterwards, because her vision, her commitment is what we are about. Taking people who have never thought of doing things that they could do, like Vaughn said, and they're doing it. So I'm a little excited. That's all.
You can tell why I fell in love with Dennis, his enthusiasm that he brings, the spirit, the encouragement that goes with this, just such an amazing gift to those that you serve. And I'm excited to work with you this year. I sought out this organization because it's similar, but in a whole different way, of another organization back in Orlando. We need to take care of these folks. We need to take care of it so that they can take care of themselves. Yvonne, we've got maybe a little bit of time for some questions, and I just want to start with one. What does this mean to the families? We've talked about how great this makes these individuals feel. They're participating, they're earning, they're being encouraged, and the give and take and stuff. But can we talk a moment about the families and how they feel about it?
Well, I think some of the families are surprised at what happens in our programs, because they didn't see anything happening like that at home. Because at home, do your chores, do this, or I think surprised is probably the largest emotion that we hear, but also appreciation for giving the opportunity to explore that, and so that they could see things happening with their child, even though their child is an adult, seeing things they never saw before. So, and I know it's been very hard, not just for the people in the program who attend our programs, but we're hearing a lot from families because we're not in person right now. When are you coming back? When can we, so the other part of this is a lot of the, well, not a lot, several of the participants in our programs, their parents are elderly. And the concern is what's going to happen to my child. And they have a little bit more hope that their child is not going to be lost in, after they're gone. They're going to be able to still engage and be involved and enjoy their lives. So
Thank you. Now, Rabbi, you're the timekeeper. I've lost track of time listening to the two of them, so I hand it off to you. I don't know if we have time for other questions and the like, or if we're wrapping up, but I hand it back to you.
Well, first of all, I just thank you so much. I'm listening to what you're doing, and I'm so inspired. I feel like I want to see these individuals myself. I want to see what that's happening. Does anyone have one question before we move on with the completion of our service?
I have a question.
Who is that?
It's Rick Snyder.
Sure.
So I worked at Porterville Hospital and Fairview Hospital during the late 70s and early 80s. And yes, you're absolutely right. There were a number of people there who were disinterested and burnt out. But then there was a group of people, myself included, who really wanted to make things happen and bring something different. The difference between the state hospital and what you're describing is never once did I see a parent come and visit any of the people at the state hospital. Never. Not at Porterville and not at Fairview. So how can you extrapolate some of the best aspects of your program to the state hospital system? I know the clientele are different, the kids and the patients and the individuals are different, but you know, I would just like to see some of that be able to be extrapolated from the outside to the inside, because their existence is not incredibly fulfilling a lot of the times.
Well, and most of the state hospitals have been closed. Porterville is serves a different population. So that those large, giant congregate settings, those have mainly gone away. And I think that makes a big difference too. Because we've run much smaller groups of activities. I do want to say that once we are back in person, I'd like to invite all of you to come by and see what we do, because we can talk about it, but when you come and see what's going on and interact with the people that are in our programs, that's a totally different level of understanding and appreciating the value of what our programs do.
Will you remind us where where it's located?
One of our campuses is in South Sacramento, 5051 47th Avenue, right off of Highway 99.
Okay.
Our other campus is at St. Mark's, and that is, what's the address, Dennis?
2331 St. Mark's, just off of El Camino behind Country Club Plaza.
And there's another campus in Stockton as well.
Okay. And how are you funded?
We are funded through the regional center, which is indirect state money, but we're not a state run program. So Alta Regional Center provides the funding for people to attend our programs. And in Stockton, it's Valley Mountain Regional Center.
Is there a criteria for your participants?
The regional centers do an assessment and determine if what level of developmental disability somebody may have, or if they're on the spectrum, or epilepsy, or a variety of the different developmental disabilities, and they will determine, that will help them become eligible when they determine that, and then they can participate in community programs. And
Great.
we're paid by attendance, and they provide a rate, which has nothing to do with reality and cost of living, but they provide a rate for us to provide services.
Well, I just thank you. I thank you. This is for the initiative that you take, and the love that that is underneath it jumps right off the screen. So thank you very, very much. And I would like, once you're back in person, I would very much like to visit your campus.
Please,
Wonderful.
please.
Be in touch on that. Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing them to us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, we will continue on with announcements for Shabbat. You know who you are, who is reading the announcements this evening. Go for it.
Yeah, that would be me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And thanks for adding this, Rick. I think many of you know, if not all of you, that we had the funeral today for Robin Ash, and the whole congregation mourns for her. There will be Shavuos services held at CBS beginning tomorrow night. That's March 12th, and going every night through Thursday night, including Wednesday, when we also have the Purim Spiel. Shiva services will be at 5 o'clock each evening, and they'll be in person, with the exception of tomorrow, when in addition to being in service, Rick will be helping us Zoom live cast that. But the other days will just be in person without that Zoom supplement. So if you can join us, we really appreciate it as we all try and hold each other up for that loss to our congregation. In terms of other activities, tomorrow morning, there's tourist study on Zoom at 9 a.m. Sunday, Neshama's in session with a Purim celebration. And parents, please check in with your volunteer opportunities and schedule for the day. The rehearsal for Purim Spiel has been moved up, and it's at 11:45, and that's for both the kids and all the adults who are in Purim Spiel. It's our sort of semi-first, I think, full rehearsal. And then Purim occurs on Wednesday. It starts with a pizza celebration at 5:30 with a suggested donation of $5 per person for your pizza. And I believe there's lemonade to accompany that. The rabbi will have a brief service, including reading of the Megillah, which will start at 6. And that will be immediately followed by the Purim Spiel, which is a lot of fun. And you'll be familiar with the tunes because they're all based on those in Fiddler on the Roof. So please come and enjoy that holiday with all of us. After the Purim Spiel, with a generous donation by Marianne Buden, there will be a Hamantashen for all. Next Friday, services will be Shabbat with a beat, and that'll be both in person and on Zoom. And I believe that starts at 7 p.m. If you haven't been seeing any of the films sponsored by the Sacramento Jewish Federation, the Jewish Film Festival has been running already for a week or two and continues until the 21st of this month. You can go to the Sacramento Jewish Federation website for more details. Definitely worthwhile. Mark your calendars for things coming up in the future, including Carrie Cohn's 100th birthday party celebration, and that is on May 7th. It's a Saturday. It will be a service, Saturday morning Shabbat service, which will be a lot of fun, led by our beloved rabbi. And then following, there'll be a luncheon with Carrie and in honor of Carrie, and contributions in honor of Carrie, including you can take out an ad in the book, or you can just donate money, will be going to the Neshama Education Program, as that was Carrie's wish. And then, of course, the food fair will be in September, the Sunday before Rosh Hashanah, which is September 18th. That's our 45th annual food fair. And if you're interested in participating in any way, we need volunteers of all kinds. Please send a note to Jenny Jeffrey at administrator@CB Shalom. And you will be getting more information from our co-chairs who've been identified. We'll be setting up more meetings soon for all the volunteers. And last time I forgot to say, and Rick reminded me, that in addition to just sending an email to Jenny Jeffrey, we also have an online sign up, which you can use, and that gives a list of some of the specific areas in which you can volunteer. So you can do it online, you can do it by email, you can do it by phone. Just please help out and participate. And we will continue to require proof of COVID vaccinations for people attending in-person events, including Purim Spiel and Friday night services. So please bring that. And if you have not sent your copies of your vaccine cards, you can send them to Jenny Jeffries. So that's it for the announcements tonight.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Okay, Rick.
Just wanted to mention that Susan Solars put a little note in the chat that there's a all community Havdalah with the film festival open to all, and all of that was in the email blast that was sent out today, along with the links to find whatever it is that you'd like to find.
Thank you. Please stand if you can for Aleinu, which will be followed by our Kaddish prayer. Aleinu l'shabeach אנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, המת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. So we read the Kaddish list from the bottom, working up, and we remember with much love our beloved Rabbanash. Rivka Kivi, Bat Zahala Yisrael. Ricky Joe Miller, Merck Richardson, Ida Brody, Jen Garcia, Mark Kane, Ami Lustig, Carl Saperstein, Emma Ronquillo Nalangan, Bob Unger, Bill Jenkins, Linda Clark, Sergeant Beryl Chadera Shmuley, Raquel Kagan de Apasoa, Dennis Mathit, Sandra Jeffrey, Florenciano Carvajal, Nancy Ann Sutter, Charlie Hilty, Murray Fink, Maria Pellegrino Eisner, Sheila Sugarman, Nancy Norton Fleischman, Raul Saavedra, Leroy Davis, Sarah Everard, Christine Verano, and Kilcrease. Rick, if you could put up the yard site list, please. We remember with much love these precious souls who died at this season in years past. Rebecca Actor, Simon Amer, Renee Attia, Dennis Buter, Bella Cohen, Leland Robert Doughty, Robert Eisner, Howard Fisher, Phil Friedman, Odo Hertz, Barbara Koch, Louis Levy, Rachel Melamed, David S. Mendelson, Woodrow Miller, Hayes Elmont Parrish, Pearl Rosenberg, Annette Schultz, Richard Weinberger. Are there any other yard sites or recent deaths in our community? Please just say the names out loud.
Peter Albrecht.
Zichronam Livracha, may all their memories be for a blessing. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach hirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedechol Beit Yisrael, Bagalav Zman Karivi Imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Ul'almei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom v'imramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yakol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. How pleasant is this day, a Sabbath of peace. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. I too want to just thank you, Hank, again for bringing our speakers to inspire us and just help us to think about the broader community that includes all of us. And I so appreciate that. My friends, it's time for a little Borei Pri Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim, everybody, l'chaim, l'chaim. So Heidi is shared with me earlier, shared with all of us on the screen that she had gotten her hand washer. So before breaking bread, we just want to remind you why we even do this. So has two handles. We put water on our right hand first. It's considered the hand of compassion. Your left hand is considered the hand of discipline or structure. So we bless the right hand first. And the tagline is Al Netilat Yadayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. And Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you again for being with us.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi
Shabbat
Nancy.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Jean, and
Good to see you, Yvonne. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom,
Good to see you,
Sherry.
Heidi.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shalom,
Susan.
everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Joel. Shabbat Shalom, Aaron. Shabbat Shalom, Mario. Shabbat Shalom, Hank. Shabbat Shalom, Roy. Shabbat Shalom, Chris and Linda, Shabbat Shalom, Rick, Shabbat Shalom,
Valerie.
Deborah,
Hi,
Shabbat Shalom, Robert, Roberta, I said Roberta. Shabbat Shalom, Harriet.
Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat shalom,
Heidi.
Heidi.
I just love it when you do this. I can sit back, eat my bread, drink my wine, and hear you do it.
Makes me feel part of the community. I love being here. Thank you.
You are.
Yes,
You
you
are.
are, Heidi. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good to see
Rick, thank you so much.
Deborah. Thank you for being here.
Deborah,
Linda,
thank you for being here. Yeah.
Linda, good to see you.
And Chris. Chris, I see you.
Oh,
Okay.
there's Chris. Hi.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Okay.
Mango. Mango. Shabbat shalom, Mango.
Oh, thank you. Except she's now called maple syrup, but that's okay.
And Shabbat shalom to Rick's dog.